Is going on. So, you ever notice somebody who may have like a lot of money? They have so much money that they don't really have to really think about the amount that they have when they're making regular everyday purchases. It's only when they're making like a really drastic purchase, something like that, that they may like do a little consulting, little consideration, or may they take a quick peek at the balance or something like that. But if they know they have an amount of a certain stature, they won't really too much be minding about it. Straight my microphone up. And so they care a little less about wasting it. You know what I mean? So say for instance, I'm out with a friend of mine or something like that, and they got a lot of money. And we stop at Starbucks. And I say, hey, could you grab me a coffee? Yeah, no problem. No problem. Swipe because they know that they have that amount, then some, and then some, and then some on the card. So they don't mind disposing of that amount of income, to get me what I need or whatever the case. In other words, they don't mind wasting that. That's not a problem for them because they know they have a lot more left. So they're able to do away with that one and dispose of that, amount very easily without very much thought at all. And the reason I use that example is because I was looking at a lot of incidents. I've been watching a lot of like police, arrest videos and things like that, high speed chases, a lot of videos in regards to gang violence and things like that, and just noticing in certain areas, we as blacks, we tend to really like put in some work when it comes to maintaining a reputation for certain cities. Um, there are certain cities where it's just like, yeah, we live up to that reputation, and the people who are native to that city, they verbally can confirm that reputation and advise anybody not to really just be there like that, um, and to be careful. And what started it was a set of videos from a young man from Chicago, and he was like, "Hey, if you from here, here's some do's and don'ts. If somebody say this to you, don't look at them, look away, don't acknowledge them, just get in your car, leave. Like they trying to see where you from or what's to you, or if a dude say, hey man, I want to show you something real quick. He ain't trying to, like it was a whole bunch of little do's and don'ts and little rules that he was kicking. And they probably were great tips to keep you out of trouble, unnecessary trouble. And but there was one tip in particular where he was like, don't get caught sitting in your car. If you in your, if you stop somewhere, don't be in your car sitting in the front seat. And he mentioned that the tendency for someone to want to come up to your car and shoot at your car and possibly take your life just because you was sitting in your car is completely high, completely possible. And that we all know that in certain parts in the US, where especially where it's a decent amount of blacks that stay there in the inner cities, in the lower income cities, things like that. That we tend to we get a little out there, and we've gotten very comfortable with that narrative. There are some people who are uncomfortable with that narrative, but they defend it in a very useless way. They'll say things like it doesn't exist, black on black crime doesn't exist, it's not there, it's not real. And I get it. It's just like I want to take up for us. I get it. But it's a very useless way of doing it. Very pointless, very kind of empty and just short-lived way of doing it. So I understand that. That's not a narrative that we want on us. But we do gotta, face facts and like be honest. And that's that's an entire problem. We we have we have an entire problem. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I'm probably gonna be all over the place trying to just gather my thoughts. This is just gonna be a video, so just whatever. I remember talking to a friend of mine recently, and I told them, I said that the history of blacks in America is like a onion, and it has a lot of layers. But this particular onion is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. Imagine an onion that you've wrapped in aluminum foil when you first got it, has all these layers that are distinct layers and rich with history and things like that. Take that onion, put it in foil, and then just leave it there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And after those years have passed, you unwrap the foil, and underneath that foil is a mess of a onion. It has rotten, decomposed, liquefied. The smell is terrible. The layers are hard to distinguish anymore. Everything is just sort of meshed and muddled together. And it's really hard to like actually grab a single layer and peel it back and try to analyze one layer without 30, 40 other layers mixing in and just becoming a confusing mess. That's a lot of our history. It's so many things that's wrapped up into our history, so many things wrapped up into our culture, and things that we find to be okay and things that we find to be not okay. It's so much. But one of the main things that I always speak about in regards to this terrible onion is our level of accountability. As I said earlier, I've been watching like the little police videos and things like that. And a lot of them are funny, just seeing them trying to run from, stealing from Walmart or Dollar Tree or whatever the case. It'd be a lot of little small things. Some of the cases be big, but a lot of them be small little misdemeanors that are a bit more lighthearted. And but they'll get caught and repeat themselves over and over and over and over again. Why am I being arrested? Why am I being arrested? No, why am I being arrested? Over and over. And the officer will tell them, you're being arrested for trespassing and theft. But I don't understand though. Why am I being arrested though? For trespassing and for theft. You stole and you were also stealing from a place that you were not allowed to come back to, which is trespassing. But I don't understand. What am I being arrested for? Why are you arresting me? And they will just repeat that for like 20 minutes. But it shows that like they're not being accountable for what they're doing. They're saying words and not listening. You know what I mean? Which that's a problem. If somebody can explain something real plain as day to us, and we'll just be like, go in this or out. Like, we'll just miss it. We'll just completely miss it. And it's just like the accountability we struggle with, like really bad. I told a young lady long time ago, I was just like, man, we as blacks, we gotta do better. And she was presenting an opposing argument, like, black or black crime ain't a thing. That's just something that the white man says to, to discredit us and this and that. I'm just like, Nah, we grew up in the same neighborhoods, man. Like we know what it is. We grew up in neighborhoods where it was like that in the neighborhood that we grew up in, and we didn't have nobody to. It was no one that we could have blamed it on but ourselves, because we prided ourselves on it. The people who was doing the stuff like that in our cities was proud of it. So we couldn't even pretend like, oh no, they didn't do it. Yeah, they did it and was they was proud of it. You hear it nowadays in the music where it's just like, run up on me, I got this gun. Run up on me, I got that gun. Run up on me, I got this. And they're not talking about anybody else. They're talking about us. It be us. I saw that recent, not gonna say recent, but I saw this video recently. It was talking about FBG Duck. And it's unfortunate what be happening to these young boys over in Chicago. And they was showing like some recent findings about the case where they were able to surveillance the young men who end up attacking him. They were able to surveillance them all the way from where the incident happened back to where they started from, all the way back to the apartments that they started it at. Show them getting into the car, driving up there, making their move, driving all the way back. Show both of the vehicles, show them getting out, show where, I mean, they had all of it. And it was just unfortunate, like, you guys got up and was just like, this is what I'm finna do today. You know, and I know I feel like I'm all over the place talking about the accountability and the onion and the money in the beginning. But these young boys do what they do at the rate that they do it because they feel they have the amount to dispose. In their mind, these little young dudes, oh, it's a lot of black folks out here. It's a lot of us out here to dispose of. So it me shooting this one or getting rid of this one or attacking this one, harming this one, I'm good because I got plenty. We got plenty left. Subconsciously, these dudes, because the same thing with money. Like, we're not consciously always thinking about the account balance. Sometimes when you have so much, you subconsciously just like, I know I got it. I know I'm good. That's how so many of these guys be getting in debt because in their mind, they think I'm okay. And so they're just spending. They're just spending. But the thought process of that money becoming a bit more finite is something that doesn't hit the forefront of their mind in time. And we as these young black men, the thought process of the black man becoming finite in America is something that hasn't crossed their mind. We out here and we dropping people left and right, and then we getting on video and making YouTube videos bragging about it. I'm out catching a body and this and all this stuff, and we bragging about it. But what happens when the amount of black men that's in this country, the amount of black people in this country, just isn't as lucrative or as full as it once was? What happens when that number becomes a bit more finite? What happens when it's just like, okay, I'm attack somebody and I can see there's only a few left? What happens then? But we not thinking about that. We're not thinking about that at all. Right now, we're still in this wasteful and disposable mode because we know that there's a lot of us out there. And so we out here just being wasteful with each other, with each other's lives. And then when you address them or address somebody on it, call somebody out on it, nobody wants to be accountable. You start getting insulted, start getting called whatever the case. All type of useless and pointless words that everybody start using because they don't be having no. It's all pointless. The whole point is nobody wants to be accountable. Nobody wants to say you right. I've been messing up like big time. Nobody wants to be accountable and just say I was wrong and you were right. Instead, we make up all type of excuses and want to bring other people into the equation. But this is how we treat us. We got problems, yo. We don't want to be accountable. We still think we feel like it's so many of us, so I disposing of some of you is no big deal to me because we got plenty left. Because I guarantee you, if we didn't have, if it was a very easy to count amount of blacks left in this country, just on some hypothetical type stuff, we wouldn't be doing what we doing. But in our minds, it's plenty, and we can waste some of them. And that's how we operate in these inner cities. Instead of us sticking together, coming together, we 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 disposing of each other. To make it even worse, because like I said, this onion is terrible. To make it even worse, there are brands, name brands, and clothing brands, and that are out there that are from foreign countries, foreign brands that we will hurt you over. We've seen people walk in certain neighborhoods, certain establishments, or whatever with certain brand names on, and people will look at them and say, okay, I'm a, when they're not paying attention, I'm going to hurt them and take what they have. We've seen it. We've seen it over the Jordan brand. We've seen people like really hurt young men over Jordans. Then we'll take that brand, go back to our neighborhood, and then dangle it in front of each other to showcase that we have that brand and do free advertising for the company. And the company don't care anything about you, barely want you even wearing their brand. We got it's just ugly, ugly layers in that onion that is wrapped up in there. And then there's a lot of beauty in there. It's a lot of rich history. It's a lot of amazing accomplishments. It's a lot of gold in there. But we don't give any of that time to really breathe for real. We quick to overshadow it for no reason at all. We the conversations that I was having with a few of my friends about this particular topic, it was lasting for hours because we started to realize like, man, like we got like real work to do. And just realistically, we're so behind. Just with the accountability aspect, that puts us decades and decades and decades behind before we even try to put a foot in front of us to make real progress and real change. uh that puts us behind by decades. Just not being able to say my bad. You go to certain black owned businesses, instead of them just being accountable, something simple as a black owned business, You go to a black owned food spot and say, all right, you guys open up at 10:30 in the morning, 10:30 a.m. You show up at 10:30, they mad that you there at 10:30. Angry that you there, barely want to unlock the door. Not ready. Technically ready at maybe 11:30. Got an attitude. Huffing and puffing. Probably finna overcharge you. Quality probably not gonna be there. Customer service is not there. I've experienced that quite a few times. There has been some occasions where I've gone to a black owned business and it wasn't the case, where it was a great experience. I went to downtown St. Louis and there was a rice house. It was a place called Lefties. Lefties was the first black owned rice house or Chinese food joint in St. Louis. I stumbled up on them by accident. I was just hungry. It was 11:30. They were open, they were close by, stopped in, beautiful experience. Walked in, you could smell incense was lit. They had the R&B music going, clean, nice and clean environment. Um, Nice seating. The staff was very friendly, very attentive. No one's cursing and loud in the back. I mean, well, they loud because they trying to, specify orders, but nobody's unprofessional in the back. Um, Prices weren't too bad. The food tastes really good, nice and hot. Plenty of options and variety. And I think they even offered me like a free drink, for coming in and checking out their place and finding their place online. But that's what it's about, like a good experience. And you get a lot of places that's owned by us that simply will not do any of that. They will not and refuse to. And it's just like, man, we got so much work to do. So many businesses out here flourishing because they know what to do. They know what works. We be out here just struggling. We be so hostile over the smallest things. Oftentimes in these police videos that I be watching, they'll be hostile to the point where they're ready to go to the ends of the earth about whatever it is that they're dealing with and going through at that moment, and it's not even worth it. I remember seeing a video of Boosie. Boosie got pulled over about something with his tags or his plates, and he was like, man, y'all always effing with me, man. I'm tired of this And they had him pulled over on the side of the road. They had him in cuffs. Nobody was really doing anything to bro. They just had him in cuffs and was running the information, trying to double check what was going on. Boosie going off. I don't know if this was a skit or what. Buddy going off. Man, I promise you, soon as I get up, the first motherfucker, I'm spitting on him. I'm hitting the first nigga. And then he had somebody with him and was like, nigga, you ready to do this? You ready? And the dude was just like, yeah, I'm ready too. They were going off about, I'm finna spit on this cop. I'm finna do this. I'm finna hit this person. Y'all finna have to work for this one. And was ready to really get himself into a jam even further for no reason. Cop came back from his car and was just like, yeah, just go ahead and get the registration taken care of and you should be good to go. Here you go. And let him go. All that hostility that could have been taken as a threat and taken serious, it was just like, I just want to make sure you get your information correct. Get your registration together. You ready to go off because you ain't handled your business yet. The accountability. We'll do wrong and we don't want you, don't say nothing to me about it. I want to do what I want to do. I don't want you saying nothing about it. It could possibly negatively affect you, but don't say nothing to me about it. We got problems. You got people in the cities, in these inner cities, that will do a crime and then don't tell on me. What? I'm finna commit a crime and don't tell on me. Don't snitch. And a lot of these guys, they're not holding that to just the people who they're associated with. They low key want everybody to do it. Huh? You want to be in the city doing what you want and you harming these kids? Because let's be clear, these kids was being affected by these crimes. I want to say early last year or year before last, it was like 8 incidents in short order where young kids 6 and under were being killed by violence, stray bullets, disputes and arguments. And that was just nerve wracking for me. And these same people who were doing this, don't tell on me. What you, but it's the lack of accountability. Not realizing you trying so hard to do whatever it is that you're doing, that you harming these babies, and that's still not enough for you to relax and go sit down somewhere. And then when somebody call you out on it, don't tell on me. We got problems. And just at the way things look, don't know if we'll ever get to a place. Like I said, we're decades behind. We so far behind. This onion is so terrible. This onion is so terrible. What was that a couple years ago? PPP loans? A method of finance that's probably been around for decades that we just found out about. And as soon as we found out about it, tried to exploit it in a negative, I don't want to be accountable for what I'm doing way. We're behind. And the more things are exposed and shown to us, it shows. The fact that we act a fool like that and did what we did for them that long, whatever that was wild. People getting hundreds of thousands, millions, and then not doing anything productive with it. Buying car, going to the foreign brands, buying their products, and then taking it back to our neighborhoods and dangling it in front of our neighbors in an effort to say you could never afford. Look what I got. When I say this onion, and it don't matter what anyone says, this onion is foul. And these layers have rotted. And it's unfortunate because it wasn't supposed to do that. Our history, the rich and beauty in our history should outshine this negative. But the negative that we are into nowadays, that we latch on to, man, boy, do we latch on to it. Boy, do we latch on to it. I may come back and do another video. Just like I said, just all over the place in this video. Just trying to touch on layers is all over the place. Wasting each other, disposing of each other because we don't feel like the amount of us is really that finite. We feel like it's just, we got plenty of us to waste. Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing for me. And we waste it. We dispose of it. Man.